What's up, everybody? Armchair Quarterbacks here for another Week 7 recap. This one we've got 1-2 third rounders plus Rams versus My Chubb is Broken. That is Johnson versus Manny. Johnson is taking this for his third win of the season with a score of 92.86 to Manny's 49.20. So taking a look at Johnson's team, Johnson started Trevor Lawrence, AJ Brown, Tyler Lockett, Bijan Robinson, Travis Etienne, Gerald Everett, Gabe Davis, and Chris Godwin. What did you see here with Johnson's team this week, Shawn?
Let's see. Trevor Lawrence had a decent game against New Orleans. Not bad. My biggest fave here is AJ Brown. I mean, there was that 1 week, I believe it was week 2, where I wanted to offer a trade for AJ Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still thinking that Devontae Smith would actually be the guy just because of the consensus this summer.
Right.
And AJ Brown has just been beast mode. So, I mean, Johnson's top 2 players right now are obviously AJ Brown and Travis Etienne. So Etienne's getting the goal line work and he's getting all of the usage. And then AJ Brown is just such a monster. He's kind of like that DK Metcalf, that big body, kind of T. Higgins, where if you're throwing a jump ball, he's going to get it. So
yeah, he's like the security blanket player.
Oh, yeah. You just throw it up there and you expect him to get that. So,
I mean, if you look at it, AJ Brown, week 3 through 7, that's what, 5 weeks in a row, 100 plus yards.
Yeah. He's a stat monster. So, then, like I said, Travis Etienne is a huge one. The one that everyone's been talking about in fantasy is Bijan Robinson here with a quote unquote headache. So, which is funny because just during the pandemic and how serious everyone was in the NFL about COVID, and this dude says he has a headache, and then Arthur Smith doesn't say anything, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny that COVID kind of disappeared, and you get this homeboy here saying that he has a headache. And it's weird too because he's out, he's no usage, and then he goes in, was it late fourth quarter for like one snap?
Very late fourth quarter.
Yeah, so it's like, and Arthur Smith is one of those guys that is already telling everyone, like, I don't give a crap about your fantasy team. Complete opposite of if you saw Stephon Diggs tweet earlier that, you know, he takes it seriously when he thinks about people on their parlays, you know?
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool. It's just, you know, one of those dudes that like knows the gambling, you know. It's nice when you see players that actually care about everything, because fantasy, I believe, does make people watch and love football even more.
Oh yeah,
now you're watching other teams, and individual players, and now you're looking at cornerbacks and defensive matchups and all that. So the NFL did say that they're going to talk to Arthur Smith and the Atlanta Falcons, because, you know, you get a $4 or $5 billion franchise and you have Vegas with probably $1 trillion industry with all the bookies and the gambling and everything. Like, this is no joke when you don't disclose any injuries or anything like that. So
and it's just like the NBA resting their players.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, you don't even, I mean, you'll get bookies and whatnot for NBA, but when it comes to gambling, football is king. So
oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, just something as simple as DraftKings, and you know, it's going to be more football than NBA. One more thing I will say, Johnson, check your phone, because I did offer you a trade for Robinson. So look at your text, man.
Also, check your text from me too, because I did message you back about Gerald Everett when you messaged me, hey, thanks for the advice on the Everett pickup. So I sent you some
touchdown there,
a little bit more advice there. No trade offer, just advice. Taking a look at Johnson's bench again, same thing as prior weeks. Nothing really left on, no points left on the bench. Damian Harris, if you plan to keep him, he is on IR, so you can move him into your IR slot and pick up an extra player. Treylon Burks, with the out designation, you can put him in IR position as well for an extra player. Again, Shawn and I think Shawn would agree with me, suggesting probably dropping Treylon Burks. But other than that, let's move on over to Manny's team over here. Manny, I hope you enjoyed your Saturday night, because you messaged back saying you woke up late and hungover and didn't get a chance to switch out your bye week players. So this week, Manny ended up starting 3 players less than what he should have. He started Jordan Love, Calvin Ridley. Excuse me. Oh man, what is this guy's name? I don't even know his name. Jordan Mason.
Is that Jordan Mason?
Yeah, Jordan Mason. TJ Hawkinson and Joshua Palmer. So from the players that he did start, what did you see? What did you like?
So Love had an okay game, you know. He got lucky with one of those touchdowns because it looked like it was supposed to be an interception.
Yeah.
Went through one of the guys, and then I think it was Jordan Reed that found it. It was just random fluke touchdown. So 16 points, not bad for him considering how awful the Green Bay. If you lose to my Broncos, then you're pretty bad.
Hey, they almost lost.
Yeah. And then you have Calvin Ridley here again. I have no idea what's going on with him. So it looks like it's coming to fruition that I know a lot of savvy football analysts were saying that even though Ridley was so pumped up, there was continuity and there was kind of just a relationship there with Christian Kirk and Trevor Lawrence. So it looks like that kind of rapport that they had built up on the field, it looks like, you know, they're kind of falling back to that. So that looks more natural. Interesting one here. Jordan Mason does not get any usage at all. So even though Elijah Mitchell is coming off that knee injury, just interesting to see that he was here, but there was no usage.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey was out on the field for every offensive snap. And I mean, it makes sense because surprisingly, primetime Kirk Cousins didn't show up, and he just played really well tonight. And San Fran was behind the whole game.
Yeah, I mean, Kirk Cousins was beasting. Was he? Did he go over with the last drive? Did he ended up going over 400 yards? He was pretty close to 400 yards.
Yeah, I believe so.
I mean, dude was just balling out, and like I was texting you earlier, San Fran's, I don't know if it's San Fran's secondary or what, but they've been kind of leaky against some of these offenses. You know, I was mentioning my Amari Cooper going off against them last week. So we'll see with their defense.
Kirk Cousins' stat line for tonight, he had a total of 22.02 points. He had 378 passing yards with 2 TDs and 1 INT. He had 45 pass attempts for 35 completions.
Okay, so I mean, Hawkinson here with a great game. You finally get that from Hawkinson. It's pretty solid. Josh Palmer was the savvy pickup here. Especially, I mean, I don't know what's going on with your Chargers. I say your Chargers because you have Austin Eckler and Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
And I have Herbert in another league. And I think you're starting to see, as I forget if it was the CBS guys or if I was listening to Underdog, or I forget who I was listening to. It was one of the podcasts, and they were just talking about how the Chargers might actually be missing Mike Williams kind of in that deep, that deep play threat that kind of just stretches the field a little bit.
Yeah, well, I know they've been trying to get Quentin Johnston to step up into that role, but he does not look like he's ready for it. The other thing that I was seeing too was at least the past 2 games for the Chargers, they were saying that the dislocated or the broken finger for Justin Herbert You know, that's affecting him, which you would think it wouldn't because it's on his non-throwing hand, but he does still have to hold the ball with both hands before he throws it. You know?
Yeah, I did see. I think there was that report that he had it like retaped up or what was it, resplinted, and then and then a new glove put on. So obviously that is, you know, affecting him. Yeah. So we'll see.
But either way, I do agree with you. Definitely a good pickup with Joshua Palmer here. It's gonna be interesting to see next week in Chicago because, you know, Chicago's not the greatest on defense. They're another team that can get beat deep and up the middle too. So if Joshua Palmer ends up running the outside routes, you know, it's possible that he could have another pretty decent yardage week. Okay, so let's take a look at Manny's bench here and see what he did leave. So he had Javonte Williams, Ezekiel Elliott, Rashad White, and Deontay Johnson. Oof, that's a tough one because that's his boy right there, Deontay Johnson.
I was gonna say I traded him Javonte Williams for Tank Dell just because I needed a wide receiver.
Yeah.
And look at that. I would have won my week if I had used, you know, Javonte.
Well, hopefully, Manny, you learned your lesson there. Don't party Saturday night, or at least try to set your lineup before you party. Congratulations, Johnson, on the win, going 3-4 coming into next week, week 8. But that's it for this recap. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.